Okay, now if we choose to plot expanded. All right, so then when that
Oh,
goes to,
oh, it should work. It's got to go there. I just saved it there.
where
So
was it?
let me click it.
Yeah, put it back wherever you want it to go.
Although I wonder if that message coming up is a clue.
Doubtful.
Right there.
All right, the lot 52 sketch.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll replace it. And so it's going to come across and clip it just like so. Wow. See, that's got a huge left-hand margin, which is not even the same as it is here. I don't think. Might be. All right. So um so let's do this. Let's go to our page setup manager. And instead of that particular size, ANSI expanded A, let's see if we can, hmm, can't find that architectural. So that's 10.3 by 7.8. NCA is 10.1 by 7.6, so that's even less. So if we do the expanded A, let's switch that to the Adobe driver. Sorry. All right, that's architectural. So NC.
You think if you picked the letter, it wouldn't work?
No, it would. I was just trying to see what some of these had been set at, and I don't think there's any. See, if we say letter, 8.5 by 11, cuts it down to 8.2 by 10.7, that should be okay. Say okay, we close that. Now, that should be nice. All righty. So to
Wow.
set.
Something's changed. It's moved off the
Yeah, it's
top.
it's it's this offset business that, like I said, Autodesk can't seem to figure out. So if I make this 0 offset, all right, that's a little better, but that's 0 to the margin. So how big is that margin? So I'm going to go from, say, here up to here and see what that distance is 0.125. So that being said, we'll then modify this to be minus 0.125 and minus 0.125. And let's see what that looks like. There we go. I can now take this Actually, let me come up here and get the sides so it can go. Let's just all right, I'm going to select it. I'm going to make objects layer current right there. And then draw a rectangle from yeah, that will be plenty of room, should be. Yeah, so I think, Michael, it's that default driver that it uses, and that was the where was it? DWG to PDF.
Oh, okay.
And so I think that now that because you have the full-fledged Adobe product, I think that's going to fix it. We'll find out. Well,
No preview.
no, let's see. Let's close that. There we go. And now, so that could even be a little bit bigger. We might even could have gotten that in there at 50 scale. But we'll try this for now. Let's see that printing and just say, okay. There we go. You can't, yes, you can. So just say, okay. And we'll go to here to Snyder, was it?
Says let do. No,
Uh,
down, one down.
Lee
Right there.
Snyder, it's 8 and 52. This one?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So that PLT. All right. Cancel that for a second. Let's uncheck that. Let me go back to set this up as a page definition. Right. Adobe. Okay. That should work. Close that. Let's save that. Let's plot that. And then don't know why it's trying to go to a PLT file. That shouldn't be, but okay, there's my PDF. It should be in,
No, that was the right place.
oh, and then it's at
29.
2029. There we go.
I think that's it.
Okay, so now if we view that to be page level, there you go.
Yes, sir. Thank you very
Heck
much.
on. You know what, Michael? You make a pretty darn good looking plant there, brother.
We're getting there.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to leave all of that set exactly like it is. We did save. I'm going to come back over to here. We did save that. Let's see. Did we? Just because this one is in here from before, I want to see what we've set up for that. Yeah, see, that's still using the old one too. Um, so try to make sure to always use that Adobe driver. Now,
Okay.
for this particular file, are you ever going to need, you're not ever going to need this merger plat for this one, right?
No.
So we can just get rid of this. And then that leaves you that. We will do a zoom extents. We'll save the file. And we really could technically probably get rid of the little diagonal markers, but I'll leave them there just for yucks. And
Let me ask you a question. If
yes,
I were going to use this as a template for another drawing, you told me one time that some people use the same drawing over and over for a template. They just save as.
uh-huh.
Do you also delete the CRD file?
No, not necessarily. I mean, if you want to, I mean, if you use this in that fashion where you open this and then do a save as,
Yeah.
then when you change the name, now it's still going to have this CRD file. It's still going to be pointing to, oh, sorry, to that original 20029B lot 52
Yeah.
dot CRD. So you have to, if you want to decouple those, you would have to go to points, set coordinate file, and then you would, put it on a new empty coordinate file name if you're going to use that coordinate file. What I would recommend is for something like this to save as a template, go ahead to your file menu and say save as, and then change this 2018 drawing to a drawing template. And all that does is it changes that name DWT, DWG to DWT.
Yeah.
And then you would, come and find wherever the template folder would be, which is in,
On the C drive.
well, it's in user Shepp, app data, roaming, Carlson software 2021, ICAD, SUP. Okay, so see all those DWTs?
Oh yeah.
And so let's call this one a sample 8. Well, say I'll just call it 8 by 11. Understand it's 8.5, but if I put a period in it, it's going to mess it up. So
Right.
sample 8 by heaven, stakeout view or something, right? So we're going to call it, so we'll save that. Now, that has within it everything that this file has within it. These, the north arrow, it's got these drawn lines, those points, this scale, everything. So, but the difference is now, if I close this and I say a new drawing from template, and I choose instead that sample 8 by 11 stakeout view.
Yeah.
All right, so now it's going to come up, and again, all that stuff is there. I give it a name, set, and I'm going to, put that, we'll just put it here, call it junk. That way, not to worry about saving it. We can change its scale. Say if we did have the same scale, it doesn't matter. We can change it to something else. Say that and say next. And when it comes up next, it's looking for a coordinate file. So it's going to try to name it to the drawing file that I'm creating. That's what we wanted to do.
Right. Okay.
All right. But for coordinate file, I can also say new, import, no import. So a new coordinate file. So it overwrites, even if there is one that says junk. And it says it already exists. I'll say yes, I'll overwrite it because it says junk. I don't care. Then I go out here and I see that, I've actually got these 4 points, but my coordinate file, which has been set to junk, you see up there at the top. And if I list the points in that coordinate file, you see that there are 0 points in that file. So if I want to use these particular points and put them into a coordinate file, I have to do something like my coordinate file utilities. I have to update my coordinate file from the drawing.
Okay.
Okay, so otherwise, but they are still points. So if I double click this number 17, see that's edit point number 17, and here's its stuff. We'll call this one just as a CRD file
I
description.
didn't get that.
Oh,
Could you
shut up.
try again?
Siri, for some reason, thinks I'm talking to her. All right. So I CRD file description, and I would say, okay, now, having done that, because there was a point object in my file, and then down here's one for 201, but I chose 17, I should see, uh, excuse me, that point, that particular point in my file, because the act of editing it is what wrote it into that CRD file.
Okay.
All right. So I could then delete it from the file and all that kind of stuff. So now, but this gives you a good starting point. It gives you this now, which is defined. If I go to my page setup manager, I should see that, see it's using this Adobe driver, which is what I, bless you. You can either use that Adobe PC3, or you could come up here and use this plain old Adobe PDF directly. So it's a system print. Either one's fine. Okay, but it's set up, it's ready to roll, ready to print. And of course, you would over here, whatever current project you're working on, you'd be using that geometry.
Right.
So if you didn't want these points to be here, now I would suggest leaving them in here in this as a template so that you can borrow stuff from it, like that wipeout filled circle, for instance.
Okay.
So I would leave them in there, but just realize when you start that up that these are just points that only live in the drawing, and your stuff is going to be over here. Now you may even have points that you bring in that are going to overwrite the same point number, and that part's fine. It will prompt you for it and everything there. But or once you're in and you've got a bunch of different points, and you can do without these, and you can erase uh then you can erase these points from your drawing before you start working on your points. So any of those ways is fine.
Okay.
All right.
Very good.
Okay, so and again, it's now been saved as a template, and it's in that list, so it finds it in that proper location, rather.
Okay.
And all right, I think that should fix you up.
Once again, thank you, sir.
You are most welcome. I'll talk with you soon.